All right, so let's jump right into it.
It's all good.
This FA Cup clash was wild. Bournemouth coming off that, frustrating loss against Liverpool.
Yeah.
They just upset Everton.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A real head scratcher.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, Everton should have been, riding high after that huge win over Leicester.
Right, exactly. And, like they say, anything can happen in the FA Cup, especially in this round.
Absolutely.
This is the fourth round, by the way, for anyone just tuning in.
Yep.
And both teams, they made some changes to their lineups. Things started out pretty even, and then they very much did not.
Yeah, things got interesting real quick.
Yeah. Would you say that the first half was where it all, went off the rails?
Oh, absolutely. Bournemouth's pressing style in the first half, I don't know. It was like a swarm of bees.
Really?
So aggressive, relentless, and, Everton just completely rattled, couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, it felt like every time they tried to build up, they were just immediately shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think Everton's lineup changes played a part in that vulnerability?
Oh, possibly. I mean, they weren't as cohesive as we've seen them be.
Yeah.
And then there was that mistake from Tarkowski
Oh, yeah.
trying to make that diagonal pass up from the back.
Not his best moment, for sure.
Not ideal.
Yeah, a really costly error. Tavernier pounced on that loose pass, took a shot, and it deflected off Jebbison right into the net.
Right into the goal.
Jebbison's second FA Cup game in a row with a goal.
Wow.
Maybe he's just got a knack for this competition.
Yeah, it seems like it. But let's not forget, though, Bournemouth was already in the lead before that even happened.
Right.
That Semenyo penalty really shifted things early on.
Oh, for sure. You're right. That penalty was a turning point.
I think so, too.
It forced Everton to chase the game, and then I think that's maybe why they started taking more risks and opening up their defense a bit more.
Yeah, and that's what led to that Tarkowski sliding tackle.
Oh, yeah. The timing was not ideal on that one.
Not at all. The referee pointed straight to the spot, didn't even hesitate.
No, he didn't, and then Semenyo just buried it.
Pickford didn't stand a chance.
No chance at all.
2 goals down at halftime, it felt like Everton had a mountain to climb. How do you think that impacted their mindset going into the second half?
Well, they definitely came out swinging.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a real sense of urgency,
Oh, yeah.
almost desperation in their play,
Yeah.
but they just couldn't seem to create those clear-cut chances that they needed.
Yeah, they had a few chances, but nothing quite materialized.
Remember that sequence where they hit the post 3 times in a row?
Oh, man, it was unbelievable.
It was agonizing to watch.
Yeah.
You could just feel the tension in the air.
Yeah.
I bet every Everton fan in the stadium was holding their breath.
I know I was, and I'm not even an Everton fan.
Tarkowski's header just whizzing past the post du cour, going down to the box, pleading for a penalty, just wasn't their day.
It really wasn't. They were so close so many times.
It makes you wonder if they became a little too predictable in their attacks.
Yeah,
Maybe they were playing right into Bournemouth's defensive strategy.
that's a really good point. They did seem to have them figured out. And then just when it looked like Everton might be gaining some ground, Bournemouth brings on Kluivert,
Yeah.
and he immediately makes an impact.
Oh, you did. It was like a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, testing Pickford with some great saves.
Yeah, almost set up another goal.
Yeah, almost.
That substitution was smart, I think, by Bournemouth to really regain control.
For sure. But, Everton, they didn't back down. They kept pushing. Bournemouth really had to defend that lead. What a display of resilience.
They were defending with everything. They had Semenyo and Ouattara, some crucial blocks late in the game. They weren't letting that lead slip away.
Not a chance. And they held on for the win.
Yep.
Bournemouth's 3rd win over Everton this season.
Can you believe it?
It's wild. It really goes to show you just how unpredictable these cup competitions can be.
Absolutely.
Like, even a team struggling in the Premier League can pull off a huge upset.
Yeah, and this wasn't just luck.
Thanks.
Bournemouth had a plan. They executed it well, and they capitalized on Everton's mistakes. Exactly. They were clinical, especially in that first half. And Everton, despite that surge of energy in the second half, they just couldn't find a way to finish.
Yeah, in a knockout competition like this, you got to be ruthless.
For sure.
And Bournemouth showed they were up for the challenge.
It's the magic of the FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
This tournament is steeped in history and known for these crazy upsets. It always feels like anything can happen.
I know. And even teams struggling in the league can have these incredible cup runs.
Yeah.
It's a chance to really shine, prove themselves.
Yeah, for sure. So where does this leave both teams?
Right.
Bournemouth moves on, but Everton is left to figure out what went wrong. It's got to be tough for them, especially after that huge win against Leicester.
Oh, yeah. Imagine being an Everton fan after all those near misses, hitting the post 3 times the penalty appeal waved off.
Oh, yeah.
Got to be so frustrating to come so close but still walk away with nothing.
It really does highlight those fine margins in football, doesn't it?
It does a few inches here, a slightly different bounce there, and the result could be totally different.
Easily. It makes you wonder about Bournemouth's future, though.
Yeah.
Can they use this FA Cup win to turn their Premier League season around?
That's the big question, isn't it? And they've shown they have the talent and the fight, but consistency has been an issue for them in the league. Can they translate this success into, more positive results?
That's what we need to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, this deep dive has been quite the roller coaster.
It has.
Early goals, dramatic near misses, a resilient defensive performance. What are your biggest takeaways from this match?
I think it's just a reminder that football isn't all tactics and formations.
Okay.
It's about individual moments of brilliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. The costly errors.
Yeah.
The sheer unpredictability that keeps us on the edge of our seats.
I like that. And speaking of brilliance, can we talk about Semenyo's performance?
Oh, yeah, that penalty kick was something
A
else.
huge moment in the match.
Such composure and technique.
Yeah.
It really set the tone for Bournemouth's performance.
Yeah, and it kind of forced Everton into that more desperate attacking style.
Yeah, I think so too.
And this was only his 4th appearance for Bournemouth since joining from Bristol City.
Wow.
Pretty impressive to see him making such an impact already.
Definitely one to watch.
Yeah.
His pace, his power, his ability to create chances. A real asset for Bournemouth.
Yeah, if he can keep this up, he could be a key player for them in the FA Cup and in their fight for Premier League survival.
For sure. And what about Jebbison?
Oh, yeah, 2 goals and 2 FA Cup appearances.
Yeah.
He must love this competition.
He's thriving under the bright lights.
Seems like it.
His energy, his presence in the box.
Yeah.
He's a real handful for defenders.
It's great to see these young players stepping up and making their mark in big matches like this.
It is. It's fantastic.
These cup competitions are such great platforms for them to get experience and exposure.
Yeah, I agree.
So we've covered the highlights, discussed the key players, explored the implications for both teams, but what does this match tell us about the FA Cup as a whole?
I think it reinforces the idea that this tournament is truly anyone's game.
Yeah.
It's a level playing field where upsets are not just possible, they're almost expected.
Yeah, that's what makes it so captivating, right? You never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, every match has the potential for that shock result.
For sure. But let's bring it back to Bournemouth. What does this win really mean for them going forward?
Right.
Yeah.
Can they turn this momentum into something lasting?
It's one thing to have a great cup run.
Yeah.
It's another thing entirely to translate that success into consistent performances in the Premier League. They're still in a relegation battle.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Every point matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they'll need to find that same level of intensity, that focus they had against Everton if they want to climb out of that, that hole.
Yeah.
They prove they can compete with and beat, top flight teams, but can they do it week in and week out?
That's the challenge.
It is.
They can't afford to let those near misses, those almost goals, turn into missed opportunities. Right. They need to be just as clinical as they were against Everton.
Exactly. And they'll need to maintain that defensive resilience.
Yeah.
That willingness to fight for every ball.
Yeah.
It's a tall order. But if they can bottle that magic they had against Everton,
yeah,
it just might be enough to turn their season around.
It'll be fascinating to see how they approach the rest of the season. Do they prioritize the FA Cup and go for a deep run, or do they go all in on Premier League survival? It's a tough decision.
It is a tough decision, but one thing's for sure, they've given themselves a chance in both.
That's true.
And that in itself is a remarkable achievement.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next. This FA Cup run has been a breath of fresh air for them.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they can pull off a few more upsets.
Stranger things have happened in the FA Cup.
You're not kidding. Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Bournemouth's stunning victory.
Yeah.
We've analyzed the key moments, explored the tactics, discussed the implications for both teams moving forward.
We've seen how a single match can, shift momentum, reveal hidden strengths, and remind us just how unpredictable this game is.
That's right. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the magic of the FA Cup is alive and well. It's a competition where underdogs can rise, history is made, and anything is possible.
And for Bournemouth, this win might just be the beginning of something special.
Who knows what they can achieve if they keep believing and keep fighting?
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.